Paul, I was recently reading an article about your story of your first Saturday night primetime hockey night in Canada game you did. And it mentioned that before the broadcast, you said you wish your parents were there to see the moment and celebrate it as well. And Paul, I'm sure that is only one of the many wonderful memories you hold of your parents. Now with that said, Paul, what were some of the greatest lessons and words of advice your parents have shared with you and that you will hold forever?
There are so many, and they apply to life and to a career. I think the big thing, Ashton, that I learned from my parents was, and it's something that I think a lot of parents try to treat their children to, if you're going to do something, then do it the best you can and do it right. It's not always going to be perfect, but do the best you can and do it right. I certainly took that to my preparation for broadcasting. So whether I was doing play-by-play or hosting, and whether it was an NHL game or whether it was powerboat racing or baseball or track and field or beach volleyball, I prepared as best that I could, and I showed up prepared to do the job, and I did it as well as I could. I didn't just show up and go through the motions. I showed up ready to work and ready to work hard, and I did my best. And I think that's something that was taught to me by my mom and dad.
Paul, what advice do you have for young kids looking to become a best of broadcaster just like you?
You have to love and watch sports. You have to know your stuff in this day and age. So it sounds like an obvious answer, Ashton, but if you want to be a sports broadcaster, then you have to be a big sports fan. You have to watch sports. You have to know what's going on. You have to know a little bit about a lot and a lot about a little bit. Knowledge is everything when it comes to being a good broadcaster, but particularly in the sports world. So if you want to be a sportscaster, then make sure you're watching highlights, watching the games, reading about it, and just building up that base of knowledge so that one day, just like you were in the promo up in the booth, you'll have that knowledge there and you'll be able to go, oh yes, I remember that big game that Austin Matthews had when he led the Leafs to a victory in the playoffs. I was watching. Bring that knowledge out and pass it on to your listeners. So you have to know sports and you have to love sports.
Up ahead to the line, Gagne fires a shot,